how is 2026 different?
Just a little bit different.
Not just in terms of the AI boom, but as a leader, emotionally, is this a more stressful time because everything's happening so fast, or is this just a more exciting time? Like, what is your life like as CEO of AMD right now?
Well, I have to say, when I think about this entire arc, 2014 until now, the thing that has been perhaps most interesting to me, it's like the world's like a different place.
Yes.
Like every year, like every 2 years, you see the tech trends are different. You see the customer, sort of needs are different. You see the marketplace changing. And that's what just kept it really exciting for me, because it's one of those things where like you're never going to get bored.
Yeah.
Yep.
It is certainly not less stressful, so I can tell you that. I think what's different about AI right now, I think the rate and pace of change is actually much, much faster. I mean, semiconductors has always been a fast-paced environment, but the rate and pace of change of the adoption curve of AI, and then how the technology is changing, and then frankly how the ecosystem is changing has us constantly on the, hey, we got to go faster.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the primary thing is we have, we're in a business where you make decisions, 3 to 5 years in advance on your technology roadmaps.
Yeah.
And you realize, man, we can even go faster.
Yeah.
And that's what the market wants.
What is
And
this?
I think there's so much more external pressure in a way that the computing industry and the technology industry in general just hasn't had.
Well, I view it as actually a really good thing. I mean, people ask me that from time to time. And, the reason I view it as a good thing is, look, we're in a place where everybody needs compute.
Yeah.
Everybody wants compute. Every country wants compute. Every hyperscaler wants compute. All of us are using it. And so it is not, we're the components under covers. We're actually, helping drive, sort of how technology is being consumed. And so I think that's the difference, right? So it's much more front and center, versus just something that only techies know about.
Yeah. Culturally, what is the state of AMD's culture? Because there's one view where you're at the center of the AI boom. It's the best place to work. And then at the same time, things are changing. You have to move faster. There's a little bit of anxiety across every employee base around what my job will look like in a decade. How are things changing for the employees at AMD?
Well, I think I'd take a step back and say, hey, why do I wake up every day? What are people at AMD really excited about? Yeah. And we're really excited about putting great tech out there. And I'm not kidding. Our mantra, like our number one mantra is, build great products.
Yeah.
And it's about how do we keep pushing the envelope on that. So you have a day like today or this week, which has been a culmination of years and years of work. You think about launching Helios, you think about launching Venice, you think about bringing together the entire ecosystem, and you're like, it's days like today that we're working so hard for. And I think the culture is one of we want to be really the best in the industry. I mean, our goal is to drive the future of technology, and we do it the AMD way. And what does the AMD way mean? We do it in partnership. We do it in collaboration. We believe in open ecosystems. We believe in using the best technology for each workload. So this idea that one company is going to have the killer chip. Yeah. I don't think that's the world we're in today, right? The world we're in today.
Was that always the AMD way? We had Travis Kalanick on the show yesterday, and he started off saying, the Uber way, and then he stopped himself and he said, well, the Travis way. And he laid out sort of his approach. Was this approach something that you feel like the company had in 2014, or was that, or these sort of pillars, things that you felt like were important going forward, and you've added some over time?
Well, I would say what has been the foundation of AMD, back to Jerry Sanders, our founder, has always been about pushing the envelope, and in some sense, being risk takers, wanting to have the best roadmaps out there. That has always been the foundation of AMD. I think the last 10 plus years, hopefully what I've brought to it, what Mark Papermaster, our CTO, has brought, what the leadership has brought, is a sense of not only are we going to put the best technology out there, but we're going to be predictable, we're going to be great partners, and we're going to do it in a way that brings together the ecosystem And I have to say, everything about tech, like I was so happy to see, to have Tom Brown of Anthropic with us, Santosh of Meta, Sachin of OpenAI, Jeremy at AT&T, G2 was here, and what you kind of get from all of that is, partnership is not just a word. Like partnership is kind of our foundation, and I'm a big believer in 1 + 1 is greater than 3. So, obviously we have to have great tech.
Yeah.
But we also have to be able to, kind of see the future through the broad lens, and the way you do that is having great partners along the way. So that's very much, I think, the foundation of today's AMD culture.
Yeah. What were some of the highlights of Tom's talk earlier? He was talking about how AI is actually speeding up their ability to adopt new hardware and bring new systems online. But what were the highlights for you?
Well, I'm super excited to be able to talk about it. We've been, I kid you not, we have very much wanted Anthropic on AMD for a long time. And we just had to find the right intersection point, of our technology with where they are. I mean, Claude has been incredibly successful. And probably the highlight for me was, I think he told that story on stage about the MI355, and that's a very true story. It's a very true story.
And you've been busy today, but that's what the internet's talking about.
Is that right? Okay, I haven't seen that, but I could tell you, a few months ago, my guys were like, "Hey, we think Anthropic is on 355s, and they're doing work on it." And I'm like, "Okay, well, make sure you know what they're doing, make sure we're helping them." And they're like, "Lisa, they don't really want our help. They don't really need our help. They're able to do it with Claude." And I'm like, "Wow."
That's incredible.
That's incredible. So I think he told you the story, but it's just a lot about how the ecosystem has evolved over time, right? I'm a big believer in AI's incredible force multiplier. It's true across every industry, but it's especially true across our world, which is putting great technology out there. If we can reduce our time to market, sort of the time it takes from us to start an idea to when we actually finish and ship a product, if we can shave 3 months off of that or 6 months off of that, that has tremendous value for our customers. Like you heard, Sachin say, like, more compute faster.
Yeah.
That is a frequent conversation I have, more compute faster.
Yeah.
And these are really complicated systems. I will absolutely say they're really complicated systems, and we need to make sure that we are, able to, put it all together, and that's where AI can be tremendously helpful on both hardware and software.
Yeah, you mentioned not focusing on just like the one single chip. AMD has a lineage in CPU, GPU, FPGA, many other systems. What are the advantages of having that breadth of product scope, and are there any disadvantages to that?
Well, I think the interesting thing is, every so often you hear like, this is a killer chip.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, you guys have heard like GPUs.
You see that on the model side too.
GPUs are going to take over the world.
Yep.
Like
everything's going to be on
CPUs
this.
are dead.
Yeah,
we're going to move every single workload over. And the world just doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
And so our thought process has always been, people asked me very early on, "Hey, Lisa, why don't you just focus? Like, you decide, like, whether it's CPUs or GPUs, why do you need both?" And, I think about each one of these questions deeply, and, we fundamentally believe that there is no one-size-fits-all. Like, the world is a heterogeneous world. Like, you are different than I am. We have different needs. We have different workloads. Our businesses are different. You're going to need different compute. And I think the portfolio that we have, CPUs, GPUs, we acquired Xilinx, so we brought the physical AI component in there. We have a rich, PC, ecosystem. I think allows you to truly pick the right compute. Now, it's a little bit harder, right? We have a tremendous number of R&D priorities, but I think we've done it in a very, kind of, I want to say, smart way, in the sense that each part of our product portfolio builds on each other. Like we talk about, chiplets being a big thing that we do. We do that across the portfolio. So we do that across our CPU portfolio, our GPU portfolio, and it just is an example of how we're able to leverage getting the right compute for the right workload.
Yeah. Talk about the the other slice of the business, the other segmentation between consumer, prosumer, enterprise. How valuable, how important is it to have a clear chain of products, in particular with talent? It feels like a lot of folks will start on a consumer rig and they might build some small model, or they might be doing CGI work or something else, and they're using a Threadripper to render something locally, and then eventually they move to the cloud, and eventually they start working in an enterprise. How is that going to evolve?
I think it is extremely important, like you said, because people access technology in different ways.
Yeah.
Not everyone is going to a big cloud instance to experience AI. And so, the fact that we do have a consumer roadmap, a prosumer roadmap, our Ryzen, our Radeon, frankly, we're putting a lot more emphasis on, some of these other ways to access, AI. So we made a big investment in AI PCs. I still believe that local AI is going to be one of the key enablers to truly get all of the tokens that you need in different places. So our Ryzen AI Max portfolio, I think physical AI is another place where, we just launched these small robotics form factors so that people can experiment with it. So I do think it's quite important to have, let's call it low barrier of entry. Like, I want people to experience AMD and have a wonderful experience. And hey, they may end up being in the largest frontier model companies, or frankly, the amount of startups that are doing just amazing technology is fantastic, and we want to support those as well.
How do you on that? How do you think about long shot R&D? You have your existing roadmap, but we talk to new chip companies very frequently on the show. It feels like every week there's somebody new that has $1 billion, and they're onto something, and I can't imagine you haven't thought of it, or at least the AMD team hasn't at least thought of it. And so, how do you think about some of these investments in R&D that are maybe like higher risk but high potential over the long run?
Well, we are in a world where there is a long arc on R&D. Like, I really do like to say, judge us on what we're doing today. The ideas were really thought of 3 to 5 years ago.
Yeah.
So chiplets, networking, optimization, CPU and GPU, putting that together in Helios. I mean, that's really unfolded over the last 3 or 4 years. And today, we're thinking about what's beyond the roadmap. And I think both are very important. So we do have a tremendous number of new ideas, no question. Very active research team. Our team is working on not just MI500 today, MI600, lots and lots of ideas. We're spending time with our top customers talking about, hey, tell me where the models are going. What are you thinking the workloads will need, so that we can put that flexibility and capability into our roadmap. But I want to give credit where credit is due. There are a growing number of startups. It used to be that people only did software startups because hardware was too hard.
Yeah.
It took too long.
Yeah. And now it's easy, so everyone's doing it.
It is not easy.
I'm joking.
It is not easy, but it's appreciated.
Yeah.
That's
a lot more
actually what I want to say.
appreciated.
It's appreciated.
Yeah.
And part of this like software singularity that it feels like in some ways we're already in. VCs are they feel like more confident underwriting risk on the hardware side.
Yeah, I don't know that I would feel more or less, but I would definitely say that there's been a change. People that didn't necessarily have the patience for hardware before, because it's a long arc on hardware, and now I think there's an appreciation that fundamentally, hardware, silicon, software systems, when you optimize together, you're going to get a significantly better result. So my view is lots of good ideas out there.